and these I do have because these were a little after that. I had written like goals that I had, and I said by 30 years old, I want to be a series regular on a TV show. I book Heels a week before my 30th birthday.
Sounds like
a week before, bro.
Welcome to the Set Apart podcast. My friend Robby Ramos is here today. Me and Robby have known each other for, I don't know, maybe 20 years. And we've gone from playing baseball to, being fathers and, doing our own thing now. So we're happy to have him on the show. We have a lot of different things that I want to talk about that, honestly, we've never really talked about. And we talk a lot. One thing that I want to talk about Robby is that Robby really has played a big role in the production of this podcast, from introducing us to the people who do our graphics to just giving us advice. Before this podcast, we're just talking about how can we make this podcast better, and I think it's like a theme not only in this podcast but in our company of how can we just get better. It's not what we're doing now, but the things that we want to get to. Because at the end of the day, like it's not even about perfection. It's just about getting better. So I appreciate all your help with the podcast and your time, especially.
Yeah, bro, dude, I'm happy to be here, and for the fourth time now, right? we have our own little podcast series.
Yeah,
dude. But no, it's weird, because that first one, I could sense that you were super excited about doing the pod, but also a little nervous about how you would do. And I've had people tell me, like, it doesn't seem like it's his first time doing a podcast at all. And so I want to give you your props for that, dude. I think I called you David Letterman after your little intro. And it's true, man. You're, like, killing it, dude. You're doing
I
great
appreciate it. But honestly, you've helped a lot of it, because this is it has to do with being personal, but a lot of it has to do with your presence, in front of a camera, and just being yourself. And I think that it's funny because for being yourself, you're also an actor, and you have to also be somebody that you're not, which is kind of leads me to how I wanted to start. What do you think you consider yourself? Because you act, you write, you produce, you've directed, you've even in a portion of it even been like the person backing financially in that play The Walls Have Ears. What do you consider yourself, Robes?
I guess at this point I feel like a creator, man. Even more so now, like after doing the play and producing my own work, I got bit by the bug of like just not waiting for people to give me the okay to do something, right? And there's also a lot of experience that I've accumulated being an actor and being a writer and putting on plays. Because even in New York, when I had no money, dude, I was doing like experimental theater, like with no set at all, just a black box theater. And I'm there like doing a play for 2 people. But the idea was always to get the reps in, to get comfortable in my own skin. Because as an actor, you need to do that, man. You got to be like comfortable in your own skin. And
because when things like when the adrenaline is there, or there's like a crowd, or something passionate, like like Cuba or whatever it is that's passionate to you. Yeah. Is it a little bit easier than to be in, like you said, like this box, like monologuing, your part? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, man. Actually, I think when things are personal, it's a little harder, right? It'd be like if you were doing a podcast right now that had nothing to do with John Bell. There's a little more looseness there because you're not as invested personally and emotionally in the thing. But when I started to write my own plays, that passion that I was able to like kind of throw into the work, where I wasn't just doing somebody else's lines or something else somebody wrote. I wrote it, and right. I care about this, dude.
But where did that begin? Because we were throwing partners in high school. Yeah. We played baseball together, and we'd always play catch together. And it was Oscar and Robby playing catch, and then like a couple years down the line, I stayed here for school, and I find out that you're sleeping on an air mattress in New York. Like how did that happen? Because I never knew like that process of you becoming like, like you said, somebody that's a creative.
Yeah. So after high school, I had never done any of the creative stuff, like never acting, never writing, none of that. it was all baseball all the time. That's what I thought I was gonna do. After high school, I had to pivot. First of all, I had a 2.0 GPA, like just kind of snuck in there with the 2.0. And then I never was the greatest on the team, right? There was, I think, a time like freshman year, sophomore year where I had massive potential. And for whatever reason, partly of my own doing, I started to like, just think about like hanging out with chicks more than like going to play ball. Like I didn't understand the severity of the athlete is like freshman year, sophomore year is super important, right? And I think I kind of poo-pooed it and I was more interested in other things. And so when I get out of high school, man, I was completely lost. Like lost. I had no idea what I was gonna do at all. I had never had to like do any introspection of like what is it that I want to do? What do I like besides baseball? I was like, and I wonder if this happened to you too, where like baseball becomes your identity, like it becomes who you are.
Yeah,
right.
I talk about that in the first episode of when I lost baseball.
Yeah,
I lost myself.
Right. Exactly, bro. So then I was on this search. We
have a lot of things in common.
We do, dude, and we talk about it a lot because there's commonalities between our journeys. But I started to take classes at Miami-Dade, and I got lucky that I got a few teachers that actually.
What type of classes?
So I had like English, like just the remedials, like normal. But I had an English teacher that put us to like write essentially our life story in this kind of Bible, let's say. So throughout the whole semester, it was like writing from when you were born, your whole journey in teenage years, all of that crazy shit I went through. Dude, I don't, bro. I don't. But
I should write it.
I know. But in the process of that, I started to like kind of write down my thoughts. And I realized that I wasn't... I started writing things down and I was like, this is what I'm thinking. I didn't even know I was thinking this. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. You were so your mind was so like had so much things going on. It was so loud.
Yeah.
That you couldn't even hear yourself think.
Yes, exactly. Or what the truth was of whatever I was thinking, right? Because you always kind of have these dual personalities.
Sometimes I feel like you got to go to like, bare bones, like where your like back is up against the wall, where you can really see yourself and understand who we really are as people. Because sometimes we get like in this momentum, like this rhythm, and that can be great, but it can be like cancerous too.
Yeah, 100%. And you gotta like reimagine yourself.
Because people feel like they don't want to lose momentum, and I think that's like a big fear of a lot of people, that they're going through life saying, I don't want to lose the time that I just went through. But like I feel like you in that point where like, I had nothing to lose.
I had no choice but to do that, actually. Like there was no momentum going anywhere. So I had to completely restructure my life. Like, who am I? What do I care about? So in the process of writing and doing things like that, I figure out that it was either going to be psychology, right? So I was either going to go into being a psychologist or trying this acting thing. It was like a wild card thing of just like, I don't know. I think I've always had an interest in this in some way, and I would want to try it. And it both things deal with human emotions, feeling empathy for other people. Like I was always that kid, right? I would see somebody and I saw, there's something going on with this dude. It's not just what I'm seeing right now.
And what makes the person tick, like you like to say.
Yeah. So it literally came down to that, and I went to my first audition at Miami-Dade for this play called Come Blow Your Horn by Neil Simon. It's like this old school, like 1940s, 50s play.
So what role do you have in this play?
Well, I go to the audition. And again, dude, never acted, never did any auditions. This is my first audition in my life. And I go in and I book the lead in this play, So now... I find out I'm the lead. I'm like, dude, I have no idea how to do this. I find an acting teacher named Anna Panaro who worked at the beach. And I start taking her classes and doing like one-on-ones with her of like, hey, I've never done a play. I need to figure out how to do this play. I need to work one-on-one with you, right? So aside from doing like rehearsals and whatever we were doing at school, I was meeting with this woman.
Okay, getting better.
Almost every day, man, and going through the script line by line. So like from the moment I enter the stage till I finish, I'm finding out like what are my intentions on each line, how I deal with being on a phone conversation that's a monologue, like nobody's on the other side. I got to figure that out. Again, it's my first time doing any of this, so I'm trying to see how I build a character, all of that, dude. And that was my first experience into the acting shit, and I loved it, man.
Well, how did the play go?
Dude, it went great. I have like this CD of the play, and when I watch it, I cringe because I'm like, I'm so bad in it, bro. But in my memory, it went really well. You know, like I fell in love with acting, and also other people recognized like, oh, this kid has a talent. You know. And I had people, my parents were like, what's this?
And did anybody go there like to support you?
Yeah. No, I had, that first day was my entire family, all my like childhood friends from that time, which up to that point, they all saw me as a baseball player, you know? So like the first opening night, like the curtains open, right? And I'm backstage, dude. I can barely breathe. I am completely like in sweats. I can't. And I'm holding this girl's hand because I'm supposed to walk in with this actress. And the lights go out and the curtains start to open. And my friend of mine screams, Robby! And he's like at a baseball game, dude. This guy's eating seeds. I don't know what the hell's going on out there, dude. But I just remember like completely blacked out, bro.
Oh my goodness.
Blacked out completely, did the whole play. And then that adrenaline, dude.
Took over. Oh, all the practice, all those days.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, man.
How was the doubt that you had, not personally, but you know, with even like people like me? I always talk about like, I doubted you. You know, I've always it's something, I don't know if I regret it, but it's just how it was. I thought of Robby, the baseball player, and then now we have Robby, the actor. How did you handle all the doubts from people around you?
Man, honestly, I left to New York when I was 20 years old. I started acting when I was 19, so it took literally a year for me to be like, hey, I'm out of here. And I didn't really, I don't know, man. I didn't let it affect me in any way, dude. Because I had friends too, you know, that I remember telling them to their face.
But even if they're not like hating on you, but they're like, the reality is it's dude, a little strange, you know?
I told them to their face. I remember exactly where I was, Tropical Park, and we were playing ball, right? Just like shooting shit. And then I started to tell them like, I'm gonna go do this acting thing, and they were like, what? Yeah. This is before I even did that play. So they had no idea I had intentions of doing acting.
Yeah, it's like you just dropped the bomb on them.
Yeah, dude. And I think they just kind of laughed it off. More like, this guy's crazy.
Yeah, he's a little crazy. You know what I mean? What about the self-doubt?
I never had that, especially early on, bro. I think that it took a while for that to creep in. Like, in my 20s, it was a little bit of that naive kind of like, let's go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that I
can relate to that because at the beginning, there's no doubt. Like
dude, there's no doubt.
There's a lot of difficulty and there's a lot of stress and there's a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Never doubt, you know. It's not like a matter of if. It's just when is all these puzzle pieces gonna land? Is that how you felt?
Yeah, bro. It's wild because I remember telling my mom this. When I made the decision that this is what I was gonna do, I remember feeling like stress-free in the sense of I was like, I can't die because I have a mission now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you felt a purpose.
Yes. I felt purpose for the first time in my life, probably. And it kind of freed me up in a way to kind of, I don't know, man. I always had
I see
this
you as
weird
a different person. And I probably should have started the pod by introducing, you know, other than yourself. But you're about to go on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
You're on Starz, right? Mm-hmm. Are you on HBO too?
About to. Yeah.
So, you know, I should probably start like that. We probably lost half of our viewers. We probably would have retained them a little longer.
Miami-Dade play.
But Robby, bro, listen. You've, like I said, you're on Netflix.
Yeah.
Soon to be HBO, Starz. Like, what are what are the biggest opportunities that you've had as an actor?
Heels. The show that I did on Starz, the wrestling show, is the absolute biggest thing I've ever done in my life. It was the what do you call it? The big break.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Up to that point, I had never made like
You never made money acting.
No. I had made some bread, right? But we hadn't made money to be able to buy, like, buy things and get a car and have a space where, I'm stress free at least for a few months.
That's crazy because I know like the life of an actor is especially at the beginning. It's kind of like baseball. It's kind of like it's a big issue which we talk about in a few episodes before when Adrian Lorenzo comes on, is that these guys, they have sometimes no education, they don't speak the language, they're completely broke, and then from one day to another they become a millionaire.
Yeah, bro.
And I'm not saying that actors from one day to another become millionaires, but they also go from like being super duper broke to like one day they're like, it's like you need like the break that you're saying.
It's winning the lotto, dude.
Wow.
100%. And when you get that call that you get the part, is like, what? Especially that with Heels, it was middle of pandemic. I knew I was going to be a father, right? For the first time.
You had no kids at that time.
I had no kids, but I knew I was about to have a kid. And it's mid-pandemic. The industry is completely shut down. People are talking about maybe this never comes back, period. I moved back from LA because at that point I had already moved to LA. I moved back from LA. I was living in my mom's house, just like, oh my God, I'm 29 years old. And this is something else. So remember in those notebooks that I told you I would write? I remember, and these I do have because these were a little after that. I had written like goals that I had. And I said, by 30 years old, I want to be a series regular on a TV show. Oh. I book Heels a week before my 30th birthday. A week before, bro. When you talked about like that whole thing that happened with God and how you felt like this was your calling because the person who did the test called you back, that is kind of that moment for me. I was blown away by that because I had put myself like this dream that I have, and in my own way kind of prayed for it, right? Because I think I pray in my own way. I don't necessarily do it in a traditional sense, but I'm praying for it all the time, And when that came to me, I was like, wow, man, there's something else at play here that has the keys to what's happening here. Like there's a method to the madness.
I think what's awesome is that, and I feel like a lot of people that you find to be successful are not like rushing the process. They're trusting it. And the more that you trust the process and the more that you just trust your skills and the goals that you've made, I think it's not impossible to not fail, but you really increase your chances of achieving your goals when you're not so desperate. Because sometimes when we get like in that desperate sense, we're like, because if you would have maybe had said, hey, I want to do this when I'm 25, whatever it might be. I think sometimes we create, and I think unrealistic goals sometimes are good, but I can relate to that because I think that sometimes goals should just be attainable because, I know sometimes like, it's not self-doubt, but you're like in this, you want to be encouraged, internally and also externally. And it's something that I've realized through the years that it's good to like have these far-fetched goals. I think those are important, but sometimes you need to be able to have like, milestones. And I think construction is built on milestones, like the day you start, breaking ground, the day you top off, the day you finish the structure, the day you have a ribbon cutting. Those are all milestones, and milestones are extremely important. Talking about the show Heels, where was that actually shot at? Where were you? Where was the actual where was that?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah, we moved out there for 6 months twice. So,
how is the life of an actor on set? Like, is it because I feel like in some of the movies you see them like with the RVs and then the makeup and everybody has them like on a concrete pavement. How is the?
It is a lot like that. It's a lot of hurry up and wait, right? Like, so just imagine you memorize your lines for the whole week before that, right? You have your lines down. You're running them every day. Now you're called to set. You get there at, let's say, 6 in the morning, and you won't shoot maybe till 1 p.m., 2 p.m. in the day. So you gotta, and this is something you learn as you go, conserve your energy, right? Because let's say when I was really starting off, at 6 a.m., I'm like ready to go, right? And it's like I don't go until 12 or 1. So now I got to kind of sustain that energy and
stay focused.
And stay focused, dude. It's hard, bro. And you get pampered, like, people are bringing you things all the time. Do you need anything? Oscar, how are you, man? Yeah, no. Everyone's kind of giving you this energy. It's good, man. I came from theater, dude. I did 9 years where nobody, like I told you, there was 2 people in the audience and no crew, nothing. A director, the other actors that I rock with, and that's it. And you show up with your own clothes. You got to go buy your own clothes. You don't have like any wardrobe. Dude, I'm showing up. They have all this wardrobe. Do you like these shoes, Robby? If you don't like them, like we can get you something else, dude. You like Vans? Okay, we'll get your character will have all these Vans and da-da-da. And they kind of build the character around. Dude, I was not used to any of that at all.
I think that's it's funny because one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about next is, they're kind of adjusting to you, like you're talking about the Vans, but I feel like there's a lot of adjusting that you also did for this role. I think it's called like method acting. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
How do you feel about transforming your body into a role that maybe the way that you need to transform your body is maybe not what you want for your body, or maybe not what your wife wants for your body? Talk to us about that.
Man, so when you speak about method acting, when I started acting, that was my way in, was very method, right? So I'm like doing plays in New York, of a homeless dude, right? And so like there's what we call the intermission, which is the break in between the play. So in the play, I'm playing this homeless guy. I go on stage for the first half of the play. I'm playing this homeless dude. He's all drugged up, whatever. In intermission, I go outside because I'm in New York.
Like somebody gives you $1.
Bro, I go outside and I'm begging for bread, right? Because at that time, I'm thinking I'm method, dude. Yeah, bro. Dude, I left here, Oscar, when you say I was crazy, dude. I was down like, if I have to sleep in a park, that's what I'm going to do. If I have to do whatever, that's
you're blowing my mind. So you're playing the role of a homeless, and in the middle of an intermission, you go act as a homeless, which is not maybe acting, so that you can really come back and be the best homeless actor.
Yeah. So this is me at that time. I'm 13 years in the game. Like, I've changed kind of the way I handle my things, but to speed up now to doing heels, there was a lot of that, bro. Again, it was mid-pandemic. I was completely out of shape. Like, completely, bro. In the worst shape I've ever been in my life. I get this call to do this wrestler, and part of the audition is they want to see me do, like, a training routine. If it wasn't a pandemic, they would have done it in person with the producers and everybody there, and I would have been essentially, like, running this, like, training camp of wrestling before I even get the role. But that's not the case. It's pandemic. So I have to self-tape myself working out, doing like this workout routine.
And you're completely out of shape.
And dude, when I tell you out of shape, so they wanted like, I think it was like a certain amount of push-ups, a certain amount of sit-ups, and a certain amount of squats. And they wanted it like continuously. I can't do like cuts, right? So they want to see me do this workout.
I want to say something.
So I, in my way that I work, like I bring the character into me, right? So now I'm working out as the character Diego Conmouth is not Robby working out there, right? So with that mentality, I get through the workout, bro. And at the end of the workout, when the gym guy stops recording, I projectile vomit. Like The Exorcist out of my mouth, dog. Because I was super nervous, and I knew I only had one take because I was out of shape.
You're giving it everything.
I can show you the video.
Did you send it to them after with the vomit?
No. I cut it, bro. I'm like, dude. And so I remember sending that tape out and being very scared, bro. I was like, dude, did I miss my opportunity because I'm out of shape? Like, is this?
But what bothers me, and to me what's crazy, and I think that the whole acting community, it's all messed up. They're literally you're literally going for a role because you are fat.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the wrestler was out of shape.
And then on top of that, now you have to look a certain way, but now you have to.
Well, they wanted to know he can move around. Like, there's wrestlers that are.
But think about it. You want a guy that's weighed 300 pounds to do push-ups and jumping jacks and squats. Like, it's just crazy. Like,
they're setting me up, dog.
Which is something that I've been. You have a podcast called Dropping Character.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what dropping character was until you understood that you are Diego Cottonmouth in that role.
Yeah.
You're that homeless guy at intermission. Like, you really absorb and take the person that you're acting. But you have a podcast called Dropping Character because you talk about how the difficulties that actors have in really losing and stop becoming like your wife doesn't want to go to dinner with Diego Cottonmouth. She wants to go to to dinner with Robby Ramos.
Yeah.
How was that whole thing of dropping character, and how did you accept that? How did you manage through that? Because it's something that I struggle with.
I know,
but I'm not trying to. This is me. I have a hard time dropping character of who I am.
Yeah.
You are essentially really acting as somebody else. So it's like almost three personas that you have to.
Yes and no. So I do something similar to what you probably did at the beginning of your business, like of John Bell. You take on this persona, like you said. You take on this character. You know the traits that you would want the leader of this company to have, and you embody them. That is literally what I do as an actor. I find parts within myself that connect with the character, right? So I'm not playing like this other person. It's like
you're playing you.
I'm playing me in these circumstances that the character is in.
Is that normal through acting?
Yeah, that's like a certain method, a certain technique of acting. Not everyone does that. Some actors don't do that. But that's my particular way of getting into it. But so to speak about like how I bring that home and how I kind of separate it, sometimes it does bleed into my home life. Like if I would have trouble taking on like a very dark character, not I would say like anything against kids or something like that. I don't think I would do it, dude. And I don't think there's a certain amount of money that I would do that for. Because you have to get into the psyche of this character. You have to like have empathy for this character. I don't want to have empathy for that. I don't want to even indulge in that world. So,
but look at this guy. What's the guy from was it a Batman that played the Joker?
Yeah,
that he ended up committing suicide. What's his name?
No, he didn't commit suicide. He died of an overdose.
What's his
Heath
name?
Ledger. Yeah,
but like that, like.
So there's a misconception.
Perfect. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I don't think with him in particular, it was the role. It was whatever was going on in his life at that time, and he mixed sleeping pills. So you had like a doctor in Australia because he was Australian, and then he had a doctor in New York, and then he had a doctor in LA, and they weren't connecting. So one doctor prescribed him one thing, one prescribed him another, and that concoction of things is what kind of did him in.
You don't think that he did such an incredible job?
No, I think it's romantic. I know.
Because
trust me,
well, can we just say that? Because I feel that I love that movie.
I know.
Because of how good he did. And a lot of people think this guy he had lost his mind.
Yeah.
And that's why he played such a good role of the Joker.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, it's false. And trust me, I want to believe that. But there's like actors that were on set with him and they were saying that he wasn't completely in character all the time. Like he would even stop and be like, "Hey, was that good?" And it's like, dude, this guy's laugh is incredible. I got chills when I first heard his laugh in a movie theater, and it was right when I started acting too. It was 2008, 2009, something like that. And I remember getting chills. Like the guy, by my estimation, it's one of the best like performances ever. I would have liked to see like like just a Joker movie in itself, like kind of what Joaquin Phoenix is doing now with the Joker. They're doing like the origin of that character.
Yeah.
But with
him.
Heath, yeah, dude.
See, that would have been great.
And that he was 28 years old, bro.
Yeah, it's sad. What do you enjoy moist? Not moist.
Moist. I don't. Moist.
Don't
I
answer
enjoy.
What do you enjoy most doing? We talked about you've written several plays. The Walls of Years being one of them. You're a writer, producer, director, actor. What else are you?
Man, father, right?
Well, that's not because that's gonna be gonna be an easy one. But what do you enjoy doing the most other than being a father and a husband?
I like producing my own work. I like it's the thing that I get the most involved in, and that it's also the most stressful though. And you know this as a business owner. I had a lot of talks with you while I was doing the play, because the amount of stress that I felt investing my own money into this passion project, and then kind of just seeing how it does. And then I had creative input on everything. Like I needed to be in on everything daily, by the hour, sleeping 4 hours a night, waking up like, oh my God, this thing or that thing, or dealing with these different personalities. So even though it's the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life, it's also probably the most fulfilling thing.
And you're talking about the walls have ears. So, for people watching, the Walls of Ears or La Pared Oyen, which was both in English and Spanish, was written by Robby, influenced by his grandfather, and real life scenarios that happened not only to his grandfather but happened to my family and to a lot of Cubans, exiles especially, and that play. I think that the way you produced it, the way that even Gabe, like the way that you guys came together and how you put, like you said, you put your money towards it, and I saw all the obstacles that you were being faced with, which I think is crazy, honestly, the amount of obstacles that you guys faced on that. But I'm super proud of you. But and then we're gonna go into something that I'm really excited about, where I really realized that you were a badass was when we went to see you at Amparo. And Amparo was another Cuban-themed play, and it was a pre-COVID?
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, and I would say it is, other than La Pared Oyen, was the best experience that I've ever had. And it was an experience, that's what it was, the Amparo experience. And you're, walking through this 1961 December 31st, New Year's Eve party, and people are dancing, having a good time. And during the party, the communist, regime comes with their guns and they start separating the families. And you really play this role. And we are in it. We're drinking, we're dancing, everybody's having a good time. And here come these actors. And when I saw, I get goosebumps because when I saw you, the gift that you have is incredible. And I really hope that you do incredible things. But before we do that, we're going to go into rapid fire. You have to drink some wine here. We're going to ask you 10 questions. So we use so many people. I'm going to ask you 10 questions. The first question is, why haven't you drank more wine? And so you have 3 seconds to answer these questions, okay? Right off the hip. If you answer one wrong,
oh my God,
we're not going to do this again. So
okay.
And then we have a couple other things.
No pressure. Okay.
No, I had a coach in high school. He said, "There's no pressure. It's just opportunity." So we're gonna go through it.
Oh boy.
All right, here we go. Rapid fire with Robby Ramos, episode 20 or so. What's the first thing you do when you get home?
I check in on my kids.
Favorite thing to drink?
Sunkissed.
Favorite sandwich?
The Flanagan's Chicken Philly, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
Favorite Miami restaurant?
La Carreta.
If someone's trying to kill you, where are they most likely to find you?
My house.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
Oh my goodness. Best life advice you've ever received?
Make your own work.
Oh wow. Weird habit?
Oh wow. 3 seconds. Oh, dude, I have this thing that my wife hates. I go. She hates that, dude. Shout out my wife.
Favorite podcast other than the Set Apart podcast?
Joe Rogan Experience.
Nice. What song are you vibing to right now?
I'm heavy on She Works Hard for the Money. Dun, dun. Also Grease, dude. My daughters are in love with Grease right now.
Really?
And she's only 3. The other one's a year and a half, but they love the first Grease with John Travolta.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Do you see yourself acting like Robert De Niro into his 80s?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
I want to do theater. I want to bounce in between doing live theater, doing TV and film. My like kind of fantasy is to do like small little theaters in the middle of nowhere after making a living, a lot of money doing TV and film, you know, in my 40s and 50s. And then in my 60s, go do like a small little theater in upstate New York or in Vermont or some.
And act. I was hesitant on asking because I said, oh, maybe I don't think he wants to act till he's that old. Maybe he wants to transform himself into like a different role, you know?
No, I want to act and I also want to direct and I want to write. Like I want to do all of those things. And to piggyback a little bit of what we started, like reimagining yourself, I feel like I'm in that place again now, where I'm starting to reimagine like what value do I bring just in general, not just as an actor, writer, director, but like in other fields.
Read question number 10.
What value do you bring other than being an actor? Wow. See, I'm ahead of the game, dude.
Yeah. What value do you feel like you have other than being an actor?
I like to bring out the potential in other people. I think again, psychology, I can see somebody see kind of maybe some of their pitfalls, maybe some of their qualities that really shine through or that need like a 10xing. And I like bringing that through. So as a writer, as a director, I like to write for my friends. I like to write things for people that I really love. And then also now working with companies as well, which is like a new little thing that I'm doing is a way to kind of like still do some of that stuff that I do as an actor and a writer and all that, but now bringing it to the business world.
Interesting. I think a lot of the people that I've had on the podcast, we talk about their craft, at least the people who are like crafty, you know, and they talk about how they really need, and they've really made an effort to the business of their inspiration, like their artistry, like how can we really make money at what I'm good at? Because there's a lot of people that, in that creative world and they're artists or they're architects or even sometimes, engineers, because at the end of the day, even an engineer or an architect, they don't really provide like a tangible value other than, like in, episode 7 of the podcast, Angel Saki says that, I get paid essentially for black and white lines merely on a sheet of paper. Yeah. And I'm not getting paid, for the intellectual property that put there. And sometimes you're very, undervalued. And I thought that was like, it was genius. So
that's why, I'm a big proponent on creatives and people with that kind of spirit to have children and families, because I think it forces you to think, how can I make this sustainable so that I can do my art and still have a family and all the other things.
It pushes you.
Completely. Dude, I would have been in New York right now on the subway, riding back from
Asking
my
for
valet
money.
job and,
Yeah, but it forced you, and I told my wife the other day, I said, if you get pregnant and you're pregnant with triplets,
okay,
I guarantee you that we will probably make like 5 to 10 times the amount of money we're making right now.
Exactly.
And she's like, but how is that possible? Like, why didn't you, like, you need to do that now? I go, I know, but I don't need to do that now.
Yeah.
But if I had to do it, I know I would, but it talks about like, honestly, how much we love our family, what really motivates me, what really motivates us, because, like, to me, like my wife and my son, like, they mean the world to me. And I don't know if I would work this hard, honestly, if it wasn't for them. I don't think it would be, it's 10:30 on a Tuesday night and we're filming a podcast. Like, I'm not doing this for me. And I honestly don't think you're even doing this for you. I think we're doing it for our families, and we're just trying to get better.
100%.
And there's so many people out there that, there's so much competition. Like we have to just continue to do the best we can, put our best foot forward. you were talking about your first role was at Heels was a wrestler. You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to, get that role if I wanted to. Then you got a homeless. You know, sometimes you look a little homeless. Yeah.
I fit the bill, dude.
The other day you posted something on that you were on NCIS LA, right?
No, Hawaii.
Hawaii, and you are a Mexican drug dealer. You're not even, you're not even Mexican. You know?
Yeah.
How do you feel? Like, how does Robby feel about being? And I really appreciate if you can be honest about it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about being stereotyped as an actor, based on the way you look?
Yeah, I think when I started acting, I had blocks up because of that. Like, oh, well, I'm not going to start to do things until I look a certain way. Or I'm not going to start to really promote myself until I look a certain way. Or I don't want to just play the bad guy in everything. Or I don't want to play the whatever. You name the part, right? Bro, again, when I had kids, I threw that completely out of the window, dude. I don't care anymore about how the world may perceive or think that I do something. I also think that as an actor, you have to first find your way in, dude. If you're the pretty boy, you're the pretty boy. But then you become Brad Pitt, who's now he's got this like crazy background of roles that he's had after 40 years of doing it. Same thing with DiCaprio. He's a pretty boy. Now he's got a catalog of characters. So whether it is that you're being pigeonholed as a bald cop in every NCIS thing, or you're the drug dealer Mexican in Chicago PD like me, you find your way in, and then you start to diversify your roles as you're in there. Like, I'm confident enough in my talent that I remember doing plays in New York, and one day I played like a feminine character, and one time I played a character that was masculine, and so I know I have that in my wheelhouse. And as an actor, you get to audition and show people. Mm-hmm. So part of the gig is that, showing people that you can do different things. Mm. I think if I didn't have the talent that I had, then I'd feel a little bit like that, like, oh, I don't want them to see me as just this. But I think when I get in the room and I audition, I can pull any part.
I love that you say that, because when I try, because, at the end of the day, this is the Set Apart podcast. We have a construction company, John Bell Construction. So I try to relate, because I think that everybody's so relatable. Some people, like, they judge that person and they don't really know anything about that person, and we're so similar. And people say, what do you do? Like, that's the first question. Well, first of all, they ask me, who's John? And after they ask me who's John, they say, what type of work do you do? And I want to say, we do restaurants, we do high rises, we do parks, I can't say that, because that's not what we do. It's like somebody say, hey, what type of acting do you do? Yeah. And I said, well, we do a lot of government work. We do a lot of parks. We do a lot of commercial work. We do a lot of medical buildings. We're doing a restaurant right now. And we are extremely diversified as a construction company, where sometimes that diversification sometimes is frowned upon in our industry, because it's like, the jack of all trades, a master of none. But they forget, how that, that comes out after, or how that phrase ends. Do you ever feel like that you wish that you can say, hey, I'm an actor for this type of thing, but can you relate a little bit to what I was saying there?
Yeah, no, completely, dude. Again, there's mad similarities between our work. I think the writing is something that allows me, at least for right now, this stage of my career, I know I get a certain type of roles that I'm auditioning for, that I'm acting in, whatever. The writing allows me to write maybe some of these parts that initially I'm not getting.
It's like a GC buying the land and building what he wants to build.
There you go. That's exactly it, dog. We did it, bro.
We did it. We finally figured it out. Robby, I really appreciate you coming on the pod with us. And before we leave, what are you excited about in your life, in your career, your family? Like, what is Robby Ramos excited about moving forward?
I'm excited to see where life takes me because I'm at a point right now in my life where I'm allowing the universe to tell me where to go, right? I'm not trying to be as in control of everything because stress-wise it does you in. Yeah. So I'm trying to open myself up to be a little more intuitive to what is the universe telling me to do, you know? What's the next step from here? How do I pivot, or do I stay down the path that I'm currently in? So I'm excited to see what the next 5 to 10 years is, because when I look back to 5 and 10 years before, it's drastically different from where I'm at right now, you know? So
I appreciate it. You know, people ask me, what's my biggest prayer? And my biggest prayer is for discernment. Yeah. Because, you know, ultimately as the leader of this company, you know, I need to have this almost like an intuition, and, you know, discernment is the best way to say it, where, hey, that's a bad opportunity. Hey, this is a good opportunity. And we almost have to kind of foresee where the market is going, foresee where prices are going. So I think, you know, discernment is a big thing that I pray for, and it's something that I hope that that you get the most out of it, and that you do the best that you can for your family and for your career. So, thank you, and we're here to support you, bro.
I love you, dude.
I love you too.
I'm here for whatever, bro.
I know. Well, you're a drug dealer and a murderer on some of your shows, so who knows?
And homeless.
Too. And homeless. Listen, thank you guys for joining another episode of the Set Apart Podcast. You guys have been phenomenal in your support. A lot of people have been texting and emailing and just giving great feedback. I appreciate the feedback. I also appreciate comments. If you can comment below, tell us your thoughts. We want to hear it how it is. You know, we're here to serve you, love you, and hopefully you got an opportunity to know more about Robby and the things he's done in his acting career personally as well. And we wish you nothing but success and discernment.
Hell yeah. I love you, bro.
Yeah, I love you too, bro.